Yo, what's going on? It's me back with another video. Yeah, YouTube on that YouTube grind, innit? But nah, it's fine. I'm on that YouTube grind. I'm just coming up with videos, just trying to put out anything at the moment. I'm trying to get some consistency going, and yeah, when a big idea comes up, I'll get onto it. I mean, really, I thought about doing another top five video, but doing 3 in a row is a bit much. I wanted to do another video other than football, to be honest, since that's all I've been uploading, but nothing's really popped up. It's been really quiet, but yeah, so I've just decided to do another football video. This one's about Man United, of course, my favourite team. There's been talks about Paul Pogba and Manchester United being open to him leaving the club, and I wanted to talk a bit about that. Now, we start with Sir Alex Ferguson. We start with Paul Pogba as a young player in our youth academy when Ravel Morrison was the shit. Jesse Lingard was a wee young little lad, as well as many other players, and he looked really promising, and Sir Alex didn't give him the game time he perhaps thought he deserved. He then moved to Juventus, became one of the best midfielders in the world. We then buy Pogba back for around £100 million, and he's been on and off. You know, he's not been the type of player that Manchester United fans perhaps hope he would be in a United shirt, consistently at least. There's been flashes of brilliance from him where he's just produced magic on the pitch, where you just know his class. But you know, there's just been many games where he's done silly things, lost the ball, and where he's not been consistent enough at a top level. Do I think that's Paul Pogba's fault? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are just blaming Paul Pogba because it's just easy to blame him, but I think a lot of blame has to go to the club and the way they've been using him. The way we play him. Do we play him in a position that he wants to play a lot of the time? You know, a lot of people say, yeah, you need to come back, but a lot of the time the great aspects of a top manager or a top coach is to use the players you've got in the best of their abilities, and if you can develop the other abilities that they've got in them and discover them in that player, then fine, but you can't force a player to do something they're not good at. If Paul Pogba's not good at defending, you need to play him as an attacking midfielder. You need to play him further forward, or you need to get someone in to take that defensive responsibility away from him. It's one of those things where if Paul Pogba does leave, which I'm hoping he doesn't. I know a lot of people who I follow really want him to leave, one of them being Cutsy, the Youth Squad Legends YouTuber, United fan, and hates Paul Pogba, hates Jose Mourinho when he was at the club, and Mourinho's gone, and if Paul Pogba's gone, I'm sure he will be happier than anyone. But I mean, I personally disagree. I think we can make it work. I think Ole's gonna be our manager for a while. I'd give him another year with a quality midfielder like Bruno Fernandes to see what he can really do. And if Bruno outshines him, then maybe it is right to get rid of Paul Pogba. Maybe it is, but I don't know. Right now, I feel like he's still got it. When I see him play, I see a lot of just blank canvas, and then you just see a little splash of paint in, a splash of colour in, when he does a worldy pass or he dribbles past some players, and he just makes people look silly. You know, these are players you want to keep hold of. Now, is he's a Rolls Royce at the moment with a guy who's a manager of a KFC or whatever. That's what he is. That's what he's been. But with Bruno Fernandes coming in, he might have. He might be able to add more offensively. I think we still need someone to take that defensive measure and just let Paul express himself. Paul Pogba is a very expressive football player. He's a football player that if you give him the ball, he's an artist. Okay, he's an artist and he wants to paint the football pitch, which is an empty canvas, which is an expression I use a lot for him. It's an empty canvas and he's just splashing paint and he's creating his masterpiece. If you force him to do clay models, even though he's a painter, it's just it's not going to go well. Yes, he has the artistic ability and maybe he could do it, but if he can't do it, then there's no point forcing him to do it. You know, maybe Bruno was brought in for a contingency plan in case Paul Pogba left, in which case I wouldn't be against. But I just look at our midfield and I look at Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba lining up with each other, and I just think it terrorises. It rivals City's midfield. De Bruyne and David Silva, Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes. Imagine that battle. And if we got Wilfred Ndidi or Declan Rice in midfield, just someone holding midfield like that, it would be our own Fernandinho. It'd be chaos in midfield for both teams, because they're both just got so much quality in it. So, you know, but if Paul wants to leave, fair enough. But I just think he's just got so much to add to the team still. I think it'd be such a shame to let him go now when everything's looking up. Now you might look to yourself and you might think, yeah, is the team looking good though? Because he's not in the side and we're playing with different players and he's not suited to the way we play. That's a possibility. But let me give you this rebuttal. Do you know that Paul Pogba wouldn't work in the way we're playing right now? Because we weren't playing how we were back then with Paul Pogba in the team than we are now. That's how influential Bruno Fernandes has been. He's like if we were compared to Manchester United to a PC, okay, we've just added in a new graphics card. We've added in a new graphics card to run to make everything look pretty and make everything look good. And making the whole machine more effective as a whole. Paul Pogba, he would just run shit in midfield. But yeah, like I said, I'd like to see us make another holding midfielder signing. You know, maybe play Scott McTominay and Matic there for now, and just let Pogba and Bruno run the midfield. If we lose Paul Pogba, we have the option of going for Jack Grealish, which this is no knock to Grealish. He's a fantastic footballer, worldy potential. But is he as good as Paul Pogba? No. Just the simple answer to that is no, he's not as good as Paul Pogba. But he is a good replacement. Not as in like to likeness, because they play different ways of playing football, but in the sense that we have a good midfielder who attacks and scores goals and creates very well. But you might think, is he too similar to Bruno Fernandes? He's very similar to Bruno Fernandes, but they would complement each other, I think, because, you know, Jack Grealish has a worldie in him as well as Bruno Fernandes, but great players find a way to play with each other. You know, you saw it in the England side with Paul Scott, or with Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard. It didn't work. Is that their fault, or is it management's fault? Is it the coach's fault? I don't know. I honestly don't. But I look at that Man City side with Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva. They're both very similar players. David Silva's probably a better dribbler. De Bruyne's probably a better passer. But they're still pretty attacking-minded players. You know, they're still they work with each other. You know, the way I'd see it is I'd have them in quadrants or halves. So say Bruno, you're in charge of the right hand side of midfield. Jack Grealish is in charge of the left hand side, and whoever's nearer to the ball in the middle goes to the middle and creates. That's how I would do it. And then we just have so much range left, right, and then one will come in at the centre. They've both got good feet on both feet. You know, that would work. I believe it'd work. Other options you could possibly go down. If you wanted to find a Paul Pogba-esque replacement, I mean, there's no one that really screams to mind right now that's ready right now, but, you know, you're looking at young players. You know, you're probably looking at you're probably looking at someone who can pull off a great pass but also shoot a rocket, which Bruno Fernandes is. He does that. You know, you've seen him score from outside the box in Sporting Lisbon. You've seen his vision. If you were to find a Paul Pogba replacement, I don't necessarily think Paul Pogba is a player you need to replace with Paul Pogba. As in, you don't need to replace a player that plays like Paul Pogba. You just need to replace a player to complement your star man, and the star man in midfield would be Bruno Fernandes. And if we had Bruno Fernandes, who plays a bit more attacking, plays the killer balls, shoots from outside the box, you know, maybe you need someone in midfield, a box to box midfielder, to just you know, run his socks off, knacker out the other team. You know, someone with an engine on him. You know, someone like a Gini Wijnaldum from Liverpool. You know, someone like that. Someone who can run the length of the midfield for 90 minutes and, you know, transition the ball from defence to attack. So if you looked at jobs in the midfield, we got a holding midfielder, because in my mind we're playing a 4-3-3. Okay, we're playing the two there in midfield, we're playing one in behind, and so we had Scott McTominay. He's the anchor. He's the wall behind the second wall, which is the defence. Okay, so you've got the defence, and then in front of them you've got Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay wins a ball. Maybe it could be Fred for the time being. Fred could come in. The type of player I'm talking about. Fred is the type of player I'm talking about. And maybe someone of a bit more quality. Even though Fred's been quality for the side, he'd be a great backup. You know, and I'm sure he'd be happy to play that role for Manchester United. I'm pretty, you know, especially if we got a worldie in. So the only reason I'm saying Scott McTominay is because we haven't made that defensive midfielder. So say it's Matic or McTominay. They win the ball. They pass it to Fred. Fred runs up the pitch, passes it to Bruno. Bruno creates. We miss. They counter attack. Fred runs all the way back, joins McTominay in the defensive effort. We need a lot of coverage. Which you wouldn't get with Paul Pogba, but with Paul Pogba you'd get just quality on the ball. But yeah, I mean, maybe Bruno could play that box-to-box midfield role and Pogba could be the attacking-minded player, because Bruno's played centre mid and he plays well at centre mid. You know, he's not afraid of a tackle. He's pretty good defensively. He's not terrible. He could be that player with Paul Pogba in attack, but you know, I think we'll be all right no matter what happens. But if I was to pick Paul Pogba, I would keep at the club just because he's so much quality, the history he's got with the club, and this is no shot at anti-Pogba fans, but I would just love him to prove them wrong. And if you're a true Man United fan, you want to see that as well. If you are a true Man United fan, you want to see Paul, and you're a Paul Pogba hater, you want to see Paul Pogba prove you wrong. You want to see him. You want to make him make you go, fuck, I really judged this guy wrong. He is class. If you don't, you're not a Man United fan, because you don't want them to do well. You just have a grudge against someone that's just online and you know, there's just playing football that's not really doing anything particularly wrong, just playing his game. But you know, we all want Paul Pogba to do well as Man United fans. Graham Souness doesn't, but because he's a Liverpool fan. You know, I expect it from Graham Souness. Every now and then he has to say a nice thing about Paul Pogba, like, oh, he played well this game. I saw him do that once and I was like, oh, maybe he's turned a new leaf. Then the next week, oh, Paul Pogba's fucking shit, isn't he? And it's just like, oh my god, Graham. He didn't say that. I don't think he could get away with saying Paul Pogba's shit on Sky Sports and News. But, well, not news, on Sky Sports. But yeah, no, Graham Souness, yeah, he doesn't like Paul Pogba either. But he's not a United fan. As a United fan, we need to get behind our squad. And if you're hoping he leaves, and then he proves it somewhere else, are you then going to go, well, he could have done it for us, and then you'll be sorry about it? But we need to give him that chance. And maybe he's run out of chances. But we never really gave him a chance with a quality midfield, which we're starting to build right now. So, yeah. Like I say, this is what I usually do, which is ramble on, but that's what this is, the Ramble series. Hope you all enjoyed. What would you do with Paul Pogba? Would you sell him? Would you keep him? If you kept him, how would you use him? If you sold him, how much would you sell him for? And if you sold him, who would you replace him with? Those types of answers. So leave them down in the comments if you so please. If you want to like, give us a like. If you want to subscribe, that would be incredible. I started before the Rambling series with like 16 subscribers. I've gone up to 23. I've had 2 videos over 100 views, which for me is mental. They've all been about Newcastle, though, to be fair. So I thought they would do pretty well. But yeah, I'm really enjoying making videos. I'm really enjoying the progression. I'm enjoying rambling, you know. At the moment, this quarantine's a bit boring. A bit difficult to not speak to many people at the moment. So even if it's just to no one or online to people, it's nice. It's nice to have a chat, especially about football. Love talking about football, but I will try tomorrow to make a video that's not about football, because to be fair, I've made quite a bit, and it never was meant to be a football sort of rambling series. It's meant to be a bit of everything, but every time I go on the trending page on Twitter or whatever, there's nothing, absolutely nothing, you know, so it's very hard to come up with topics. But anyway, I'll end the video now before I chat your ear off. Alright, have a nice quarantine. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.